Okay, so to get started on this flower, I just want to give myself a guide as to where my center is. So I'm going to draw a circle right in the middle of my cookie, and obviously that's not right in the middle, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to draw an outer ring, leaving just a little bit of space in between the two. This space is really where you're going to put all of your little pokey petals that come up through the middle after the centerpiece. So the first thing I'm going to start with is my black, and I'm going to just make a nice dot of black right there in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this petal tip that we just talked about, and I'm going to start with the bottom part, the whiter part of this petal at the outside line that I just drew. And I'm going to draw 4 separate petals here with my tip. So I've got one, and now I'm going to go right to the other side, directly across from it, and do it again. In order to get it a little bit more pointy, what I like to do is bring it up and then really make a sharp swoop down like that. All right, so up and then a sharp swoop down. All right, so now I have my 4 petals that I'm gonna build on top of from here. So we'll just start with one side, and I'm going to meet again the same spot that I left the other side, and just I want to kind of flail these around a little bit so they stand up really pretty. All right, once I've got 3, I want to move on to my other side. Okay, and then same thing over here. You can do this on a cookie that's been pre-flooded. I contemplated doing that, but I don't think I really need to for these flowers. All right, and now I'm just gonna fill in some of the areas where I have a gap. And you don't want the petals to be perfect, because natural looking petals are not perfect. Just want to give it some fluid looking movement. So I'm kind of turning my wrist here and there. And I'm overlapping where I need to. All right. And there we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to take my black icing, and I've just cut a very tiny amount off of the tip of my tipless bag, probably the size of about, if you're using tips, if you're not using a tipless bag, I would say it's about the size of a number 2 Wilton's tip. And I did that for both of these. And now you're just gonna go around, and you can start on the outside or you can start on the inside. It doesn't matter. I usually start on the outside because I like to fill in just a few of the areas that might have holes. So what I do, if I do get a hole somewhere, like say right there in that little spot, for example, I'll squirt a little bit extra royal icing down in there, just so you don't see any cookie sticking out. But these little stems don't have to be perfect. And you want to make sure as you go that when you do that first little squeeze, when you're touching down on the bare cookie, you want to kind of hold the position before you pull up. That way it does two things. It makes sure that you're not pulling your royal icing off when you pull up and you release the pressure. It'll stick to the cookie. And it also helps to fill in some of the bare cookie. All right, so once you get one ring around, you just go around again. And maybe these are a little shorter this time. Just keep going. I mean, the highlight of this cookie is really just those petals and how nice and thin and delicate looking they are. And when you do use your Korean pastry tips, they put a lot less royal icing on the cookie. So, you know, not only do you not have to worry about, you know, whether it's just too much royal icing, but also you can get a lot more petals in onto the cookie itself and a lot more layers, which builds a much more realistic looking flower, in my opinion. I mean, normal flower petals are so thin and so delicate. It's really hard to replicate that. But I think that with these particular tips, it's a lot easier. Okay, now I'm just gonna go back with a little bit of my white. And get some random specks of white in there. That one didn't want to come off. And I'm not really doing them anywhere specific. They're a little bit shorter. They're not quite as long as the black ones that I just did. And I just want to fold some black ones over the top. And you can fold some white ones over the top as well.